morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is you happen to be checking in. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Cyclone Connection. We want to start out before we talk about the upcoming week. I just want to let everybody know from administration, from our teachers, from everybody here, we want to thank all the students, parents, everyone for making it such a seamless transition into an adjusted schedule for that first week. Things were very different in some capacities. Of course, we've got one-way traffic in certain areas. We've got 2 different dining areas for lunch instead of 1. We've got social distancing and mask expectations and requirements. All of you stepped up and did such a tremendous job this week. You went above and beyond in meeting the expectations for accountability and for just everything. We're so happy that we had a first week of school that went well. So we're not going to forecast way too far into the future, and just know that this week coming up, things are going to look a little bit different, not too much. We're going to have more people on campus because we'll have half of our student body here, but we're just thankful. So shout out to everybody who followed those expectations and requirements, made our job a lot easier and made us looking into this week. It's going to make things a lot easier as well. Remember, week 2 of school, which is this week, we're going to be on our hybrid schedule. You can bounce back to last week's edition of the Connection, or you can go online. You can ask somebody about the alphabet breakdown if you're confused about it, or about what days are remote learning days. Make sure that you're plugged in there. We put out a lot of information out, so you should be familiar by now. Handbooks will be made available during first period very soon. We're not going to have paper copies of handbooks unless you request ones, or this is how this is going to work. Very soon, your first period teacher will have something for you to sign that says that you acknowledge that you understand the handbook and how to get access to it. If you can get access to it online, which most of you should be able to, there's a PDF copy on our app and also on the school website that you can access anytime. You can indicate that so you won't have a paper copy. If you choose to have a paper copy, you can also indicate that there as well, that you would like to access one, and we can have those printed very soon. We don't want to print a bunch of handbooks and a bunch of paper copies and give those out that people aren't going to use. And since students you have access to technology and Wi-Fi here as well all the time, we want to make sure that if you can take advantage of the PDF copy, you can do that online. Remote learning days, remember that when you're not in school, so when you're physically not here, it's so important that you log into Google Classroom early and often to make sure that you know what those expectations are. And grades and attendance are going to look very different this semester than they did in the spring. Of course, you know March 20th was a deadline or a date that was set by our governor where grades were kind of frozen, but that's not going to be the case. These are counted as school days this year, of course. So it's really important that you log in. I will say this, that on Wednesdays, our teachers are going to be following more like a 2-hour delay schedule for assignments. So from 7:45 to 9:45 on Wednesdays, all day anyway, this building is going to be empty. But during that 2-hour morning session, 7:45 to 9:45, you will have the opportunity, of course, to log in and get information and access to work that you need to catch up on, any independent practice or anything that your teacher's assigned. But at 9:45, if your teacher assigns a live class or a live meeting, they'll be following the delay schedule, which is also in our handbook, so you can access that. But the main thing is, don't confuse yourself and don't allow that to kind of cloud your memory about what to do. If you stay plugged into Google Classroom every day and know what your teachers are posting, it's going to be the #1 thing that you need to do to know what's expected of you, so make sure you do that. Student email, something we're going to be using a lot more often this year than we did last year because all of you have access. You can email your teachers, you can email us. We're going to be putting together a Cyclone Connection newsletter. It's going to have a lot of this information in it and additional information about what's coming up for the week, events and things that are going on. If there's been cancellations, as you know, things can change very quickly. So we're going to be utilizing that. So it's important that when you log into Google Classroom and get into your Google account that you check your email frequently just to see what's in there. And we're going to be reminding you to do that as well. Distance learners, on Thursday, we sent out a app notification, and we also put on our school website, ecschools.net. An online orientation guide. This is very beneficial for distance learners to know what's expected. That's for students who have chosen the distance learning track. It is also very beneficial as well for remote learners, which is everybody, to look at, because if you have questions about how do I get access to my Google Classroom, if something goes down, if I can't get my password or my password's not working, just some of those technical things that really matter about how to get in and get plugged in and get access. The online orientation guide is very helpful, so you can go online, check that out if you need access or trying to figure out how to get to those. Just ask somebody, we can try to help you. Breakfast and lunch will be served on remote learning days, so it's important that you know that you will have access to breakfast and lunch if you are not scheduled to be here traditionally, or if you're a distance learner, you're not scheduled to be here at all right now in person. We'll be serving breakfast and lunch from 9:45 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. out in the front bus lane every day at school. So if you qualify for free or reduced lunch, it'll still be free. If you have reduced price or if you pay full price, those prices will still apply. But just know that we will have breakfast and lunch on those days and available to you. So make sure you take advantage. It's not a requirement, but it's a service that's there if you choose to use it. Just know that coming up this week, we have some home athletic contests in volleyball and women's soccer, and Friday against Science Hill for football. Ticket information and accessibility to the games will be coming from our athletic director a little bit later this week. Some of it may be limited based on the stadium and capacity and in our gym, based off how student tickets are going to be available. So if you're interested in coming or interested in going to an event, we'll have more information about that coming up. So let's hope that those things get kicked off. So best of luck to everyone, of course, our cheerleaders and our band, ensemble groups, and everybody this week is going to be involved. It's going to be an exciting week, and hopefully things will go off without any problems. I want to leave you with this before we go. Just the focus of the week is accountability, just for grades and attendance. Mainly, I just want you to get into a rhythm and get into a habit of checking Google Classroom and know that grades and attendance are very important. I'll say this, Abraham Lincoln was quoted once as saying that you can't escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. And so we've talked a lot about in the last connection, and as a faculty and as a group and as a team, that we can't really focus on tomorrow, we can't focus on next week, because really we don't really know what the next day or the next week holds. Just focus on today. Don't escape or evade any reality today by just making sure that you're accountable all the time. And so stay plugged in communication lines, as always, the app, social media, any announcements that you hear. If you have questions about things, make sure that you ask somebody so you don't get left behind. And as always, stay tough, stay strong, stay Cyclone strong. We'll see you soon. Thanks.